Welcome back. We are now in Chapter 5, and we will be starting today Section 5.1, which is all about ratios. Our objective today is that I can represent a relationship between two quantities written as a ratio. So we've talked about a little bit together about ratios and comparing two quantities. Some important vocabulary that we're going to need to know. Make sure that you fill in the blanks as we go along with the bolded words that you see here. A quantity is the measurable or countable property of things. So when we're talking about quantities, we're talking about a measurable amount. So make sure you get written in the word measurable. Okay, ratios. What is a ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. Ratios can be written as part to part to whole, or whole to part. So when we're talking about ratios, we're comparing two different quantities or two different amounts. The way that they differ from maybe a fraction is always written as a part of a whole. Okay, so ratios can be written as part to whole, or whole to part. Example number 1. If a medium pizza has 18 pieces of pepperoni and 9 pieces of ham, the ratio of pepperoni to ham, or the comparison of the two amounts, is 18 to 9. Notice that they wanted to know the ratio of pepperoni to ham, so the pepperoni has to go first, and then the ham, so 18 to 9. You can also write that as 18:9, or 2 to 1 if you simplified that ratio. We could divide both the 18 and the 9 by 9, and you get 2 to 1 as your simplified ratio. Okay, example number 2. Using the same pizza from example 1, we can also write each ingredient as a part of a whole, or the total number of ingredient pieces. The total quantity of ingredient pieces is 27. There's 18 pepperoni and 9 ham. We can write the ratio of pepperoni to the total ingredient pieces as 18 to 27, or simplified as 2 to 3. What number goes into both 18 and 27? Well, we know that 9 goes into 18 twice, and 9 goes into 27 3 times. So if we simplified the ratio 18 to 27, it would be 2 to 3. And the ratio of ham to the total ingredient pieces is 9 to 27. So again, if you simplified that, 9 goes into both. So the most simplified version of this ratio would be a 1 to 3 ratio. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 27 divided by 9 is 3. Now, procedures for writing ratios. Okay, so if we are going to write a ratio, in this diagram or picture, we see a group of squares and a group of diamonds. And it says, what is the ratio of squares to diamonds? So it says, first, determine the total quantity of all objects in the particular group of objects. The total number of objects in this group is how much? Well, if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares and 3 rows, that means we have 15 squares. And how many diamonds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So 5 times 4 is 20. So we have 20 diamonds. So altogether, 15 plus 20 is 35. So we have 35 objects altogether. Second, it says determine the quantity of each individual category of objects within the group of objects. So we've already done that. We know that there are 15 squares and 20 diamonds within this group. Now, we can make comparisons of how many objects of each type there are within the group of objects. For example, the ratio of squares to diamonds is 15 to 20. Or if we simplify that, we could divide both 15 and 20 by 5 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 20 4 times. So the most simplified version of that ratio would be 3 to 4. Okay? And number 4, what ratio represents the number of squares to total objects? So, if we're looking at squares to total objects, we know that there are 15 squares and 35 objects. Or if we simplify that, again, 5 goes into both 15 and 35, so we could simplify that to 3 and 7. Okay, I think we're ready to try some together. So in this image, now we have circles and we have stars. So if we are comparing circles to stars, first we need to identify how many objects are within the group. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are 15 objects within this group. How many stars are there in this group? Well, we see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. And how many circles? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do we miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 circles. So what is the ratio of stars to circles? So first we need the number of stars. There are 4 stars. 2, how many circles? 11 circles. Now remember, you can write that ratio as a fraction also, as 4 over 11, or you could write it as 4 to 11. Those are the 3 different ways that we could write a ratio. What is the ratio of stars to the total number of objects? Well, we know that there are 4 stars and how many total objects? We know that there are 15. So again, we could write that as 4 out of 15 or 4 to 15. In this case, we do not have any common factors of 4 and 11 or 4 and 15, so we cannot simplify that ratio. The only number that goes into 4 is 4 and 2, and neither one of those go into 15 or 11. What is the ratio of circles to the total number of objects? Well, we know that there are 11 circles and 15 total objects. Again, 15 and 11 do not have a common factor, so we cannot simplify that ratio, but we could write it as 11 over 15 if we want, or 11 to 15. All right, now I would like you to pause and try this next problem. If you look at the images here, you're going to look at comparing the quantity of hamburgers and hot dogs. So go ahead and answer each question below. I'll give you some time to work on those, and we will come back and we will check them together as a class.